back to my office, which means we're about to get really chatty. I actually don't have a plan for this video, but I know exactly what we're going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about the Colleen Hoover controversy, book and movie as it pertains to It Ends With Us. Now, I finally joined the rest of you in reading this book 3 days ago, where I finished this book on a road trip, and I finished it in like 4 days, which is pretty good for me. When I was picking it up, I was super excited to keep reading. Now, I feel like we need to come clean because I can't lie. I was the biggest hater of Colleen Hoover because she was Colleen Hoover. I hated Colleen Hoover for the sake of hating Colleen Hoover, and honestly, like, that's not a good reason to hate an author. And I can't lie, I just hated her because she was popular, which is so weird because I love so many popular books and I love to read popular books and also talk about them on the internet. And so I'm not quite sure what it is about Colleen that really just like bothered me, but because of that, I've never picked up a single book of hers until right now. And I feel like that was a bit of a mistake because despite all of her controversies, her stories so far have been very compelling. And I think that maybe she's not necessarily the best like writer, but she's a really great storyteller. And I think that her story, It Ends With Us, was a really interesting book, and it's hard to criticize because it's written from personal experience and it's about domestic abuse. So it's a little bit of a hard topic to, you know, critique someone's like work on. Not that I have a ton to critique because I did rate this book 5 stars. After picking up this book, I decided to, you know, find out why she was so controversial. And really, I didn't do too much research, but the only thing I could find was some story about a coloring book, which I kind of briefly knew, but I just didn't care because I never read her books. And if you also have no idea what is going on, essentially the book It Ends With Us is about domestic abuse, and after it became such a smash hit, she decided that she wanted to release a coloring book, and people really thought that was tone deaf because the story obviously is not something super like sweet and light and, you know, should be taken seriously. And like a coloring book is kind of a way to be like cash grab and use this topic for her own personal gain. I just think Colleen Hoover loves to get her coin. And I'll talk about her like hair care brand later, but she loves promoting every business under the sun except for her books. And, you know, I think she tried to do a nail polish line as well. Now, if there's other reasons she's controversial, I'm not fully aware of them. My Google search and research was pretty brief. I would pick up more of her books in the future. You know, she's not making the coloring book anymore. Now I think some people were boycotting the movie as well. So I really feel like there is more here, but I just like have like hated this woman to the point where I just like every time her stuff came up on my Instagram, I would just press not interested. So like, I don't know. Let me know if there's more to this story because that's all I got. Okay, so I'm actually adding this clip in after filming the video, but I wanted to talk about a second piece of the controversy that I learned while editing because I didn't feel good putting this video out there not actually having done very much research. And so what I've discovered is during the press, and as most of you probably know, Justin Baldoni, he played Ryle in the film, and I think he directed it. Okay, and it's Justin Baldoni, and he also helps direct the film It Ends With Us, and he has been kind of excluded or not been a part of a lot of the like fun, light, and fluffy press for the movie, and he's kind of, you know, spotlighting that it is, you know, an important film because of its themes, and, you know, that it's like a triggering film and it's a serious film, and there's a lot of topics in this film that need a lot of like care and sensitivity, and everyone else is kind of like, hey, here's my hair care brand, or like, I'm so excited for this movie, you know, Lily's such like a fun and quirky character and stuff like that, and he's kind of the only one really trying to put emphasis on the theme of domestic violence. So that is something that I think connects to the thing I was saying earlier about Colleen, where I think at the end of the day, like the most important thing to her is like having a lot of success and making money. And so at the end of the day, for her, this was really a great promoting time for her and a great time of success and a great opportunity that she took advantage of. And I think Justin was really the only one who, like, yes, obviously wants to make a great successful film, but wants to kind of do it in the right way. And so I can definitely see how Colleen made some errors and a lot of the other cast as well, I think, just kind of forgot what the movie and the book is truly about. And so that's a really interesting piece that I just learned. Important in the discussion of, you know, book versus author, you know, because again, it comes back to I don't like Colleen, but I feel like she does write good books. So I'm gonna talk about the book and I'm gonna talk about the movie separately and do like a little comparison because I haven't talked about reading this book yet and I really want to. Now, without spoiling anything, basically what this book is about is this girl named Lily, and she moves to Boston and she decides to open her own flower shop where she meets a friend, and she has an experience in the first chapter where she meets this guy named Ryle who she kind of has an instant connection with, and she ends up, you know, seeing him in Boston, you know, due to some circumstances. And the problem is she's a relationship girly and he is very much not. He's very much a one night stand kind of guy. And Lily also talks about, through these like kind of reflections that she was writing down, about her first love. Well, you know, we are learning about her and Ryle's relationship growing. We get flashbacks to her and her previous love, Atlas, and their relationship. So we're kind of like learning about both these stories at the same time. And basically, Atlas was a homeless guy who was living behind her house, and you know, she offers him some food and clothing, and you know, it's really a safe place for Atlas, and they have a really sweet friendship first and then relationship, but eventually, due to circumstances, they haven't spoken in years, but one day they reconnect when she's in a relationship with Ryle. And so some things about her relationship parallel a relationship that her mom had with her dad. And that's where the whole domestic abuse comes into play. And there's a lot of like mirroring of certain scenes. And it's a really emotional story, but I think she did a great job of exposing the internal dialogue and talk that a person might be experiencing in this situation. And I thought it was like a great way to talk about the subject and some of the like really human emotions and like aspects of it, and you know, how it extends to maybe other relationships as well. And you know, there's so many relationships that I was really rooting for, and you know, so many moments that were so sweet, as well as ones that were like quite dark. And this is obviously quite a triggering book for some people, and I would definitely be aware of that. And the movie, I thought, did a great job. One of my critiques with the movie is they really wanted to make it PG and really bring the rating down. And so one thing to be, you know, not necessarily aware of, but just like a little note, is that anytime there was a scene that like would definitely be like really triggering, it often like cut to a black screen, so you'd see a character maybe like about to like swing a punch and like it's gonna go black, or it's really not gonna be as graphic as the book. Another way that the rating kind of got brought down was the language. This book has a lot of cursing in it, and at some points it was like really perfect. And there's two particular moments where, you know, the replacement language in the movie made these scenes a little cringe, whereas in the book they were really, really great lines. And you know, if you've read the book and watched the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Another thing in the movie was the meeting between Lily and Ryle, and a lot of the other scenes with Alyssa, a lot of the dialogue was changed to be quite comedic, which I thought, you know, it was an enjoyable experience and the lines were really funny and I was laughing out loud, but it felt a little bit strange because I feel like I wasn't going into a rom-com, but once I was sitting down, I felt like I was watching a rom-com. It was a little confusing, but it was really entertaining. And I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great. I watched it with one of my friends who read the book, and I had a great conversation about it afterwards, and I enjoyed it, and I would recommend watching it if you've read the book. I know that everyone was really scared, and I luckily didn't have to be scared because I was not involved in this whole world. Also, I didn't know that there were so many Taylor Swift haters at my local Cineplex, because the second the Taylor Swift song started playing, there was a lot of groans and a lot of annoyed people. I don't think anyone was excited about that except for me, and I felt like that was kind of crazy. There's obviously a follow-up book to this, and it's called It Starts With Us, and that's the story of Lily and her relationship with a guy who, you know, at the end of the book, she decides to continue to have a relationship with. This is me really trying to not give anything away, but and I'm so excited to read that book, and I'm definitely going to, but I've definitely heard some not great things about it, which makes me really sad because the relationship that is going to be the feature of the second book is one that I really loved in this book, and so I'm a little nervous about that, but you will definitely hear my thoughts on it the second I have thoughts. I am waiting for my library to give me my loan. It's gonna happen any day now. I definitely a little scared to post this video because I know people have a lot of opinions on Colleen Hoover, and there's none that are really neutral. I feel like they're very strong or very negative, and I feel like I don't have enough understanding of the lore to really speak on that. I know in my theater, you know, it's had Colleen's name on there, and there was like people shouting like Queen. And I don't love Colleen as a person. I think she was promoting her hair care line at the same time as this movie, and I think she's always trying to find endeavors outside of her books that she can make money off of, and that is so confusing to me because she's such a successful author, and obviously that's something that she must love to do because she's written so many. So I don't quite understand that, but I really think that, you know, every time she tries to do one of these projects outside of her writing, she gets a lot of hate for them, but she keeps doing them. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Now she is trying to profit from the whole topic of domestic abuse, which that is a little weird. I've technically never given her any of my money because I got this book as a gift, and I'm reading her next book from my library. Aside from It Ends With and It Starts With Us, there's no book of hers except for maybe Verity that really speaks to me in a way that I will probably pick it up anytime soon. And now I'm in a weird place with Colleen Hoover where I have enjoyed what I've read so far, but she's kind of someone I'm nervous to talk about. I would definitely watch an It Starts With Us adaptation if I like, or even if I hate the second book, because I feel quite invested in this story, and I feel quite lucky that I didn't become invested until like 4 days ago, and so it was like a really nice turnaround to getting to watch the film, and it was a really exciting night. There was like so much energy in the theater, and I think, you know, this is a community like Colleen Hoover stands, and it seems like, you know, there's lots of like nice people in this community, and I feel like it's becoming toxic a little bit. I'm hesitant to join the Colleen Hoover community. I feel like I need to take more time to fully figure out what my relationship is with Colleen, but I'll probably have a better idea of that once I've read more of her books. Also, I pulled this book off my shelf, and it was so crazy because it had water damage all throughout it, and I found $20 in it. So I have no idea how that even occurred because it's been on my shelf for over 2 years, and I don't really know what transpired there, but that's pretty much all. So anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and hopefully I will see you in another vlog, book related content or not, very soon. Bye.